Being here today. I am Hennepin County Commissioner Irene Fernando, but you can call me Commish and I use she, her pronouns. In 2019, I became the youngest woman to ever serve on the Hennepin County Board. I'm the first Filipino American elected in the state of Minnesota. And in 2023, I became the first board chair of color in Hennepin's 173-year history. Today, I will share troubling information regarding the handling of domestic violence incidences and mistreatment of domestic violence victims by the Minneapolis Police Department, including a lack of accountability for these failures at MPD and in City Hall. I previously released information regarding my attempts to get answers from my neighbors and our community regarding the preventable murder of Mariah Samuels, as well as 2 overdue after-action reports focused on MPD responses to the death of Allison Lucier and the shooting of Davis Muturi in 2024. There has been extensive reporting recently on the Minneapolis Police Department refusing to cooperate with audits being conducted by the Minneapolis City Auditor. As a policymaker, it is protocol and respectful to engage directly with other policymakers. And yet Mayor Frey has not exhibited intrinsic leadership, effective due diligence, or moral resolve regarding domestic violence, intimate partner violence, and gun violence. Since 2018, the mayor has been the sole elected leader responsible for MPD. He appoints the police chief. He's the only policymaker with direct authority over MPD. And in 2022, he became the first Minneapolis mayor to hold expanded executive authority, in part because he asserted that police accountability could only be possible with additional power. Any gap in performance, transparency, or accountability related to MPD resides with the mayor of Minneapolis. Mayor Frey's lack of leadership to respond to these documented systemic failures is proving to be dangerous for the community, especially women, victims, survivors, and children who have been threatened by violence. We are now forced to add a 3rd devastating case to the list of recent failures by MPD. Mariah Samuels was murdered by her abuser on September 14, 2025. Less than a month before, on August 21, she called 911 to report a violent assault in which her abuser pistol whipped her and fled the scene before police arrived. Such situations are called gone on arrival, or GOA. On August 25th, 8 GOA cases, including Ms. Samuels, was referred to the Hennepin County Attorney's Office. On the same day, the County Attorney's Office requested MPD to investigate the case further. On August 26, Ms. Samuels visited the Domestic Abuse Service Center within the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, where she received assistance in completing and submitting an order for protection, or an OFP. The next day, the court granted the order for protection, which contained details from the August 21 assault and several addresses, notably Ms. Samuels' home on the 1400 block of Russell Avenue and the location of the August 21 assault on the 1500 block of Newton Avenue. Ms. Samuels' abuser was served with the order with these addresses listed on August 29. MPD did not assign an investigator between August 21 and September 14. August 21 being the first GOA, and September 14 is the date where Ms. Samuels' life came to a violent and tragic end. On September 14, in the early hours of the morning, Ms. Samuels called 911 again. Her abuser had violated the order for protection by texting her about where she was and who she was with that morning. Inconsistent with MPD's stated commitments to conduct a lethality risk assessment in such situations, no assessment was conducted on this date. Even more troubling, as covered in reporting published this morning, there are substantial fabrications in the police report when compared to body-worn camera footage of the officer speaking to Ms. Samuels. The officer did not ask her if she felt safe, and instead made the assumption that she appeared safe. The officer wrote in the police report that she said her abuser would not know where she was currently staying. She specifically stated the opposite. No domestic violence resources were offered to Ms. Samuels, again, because the officer reported that she, quote, did not appear scared. But why would anyone call 911 in the early hours of the morning after an OFP was granted if they were not scared? Hours later, Ms. Samuels was murdered, brutally shot 10 times at her North Minneapolis home. In the aftermath of this horrifying crime, I sought answers from MPD and Mayor Frey several times. More than a week later, I received a letter from MPD Deputy Chief who repeated multiple elements of the police report that have since been found to be untrue. Mayor Frey has resisted providing even simple questions like staffing levels of domestic violence investigators at MPD for weeks. Therefore, I cannot trust that he is engaging with the systemic questions and data needed to address community safety. If this is about caseloads and resources, then why has the City of Minneapolis chosen to not provide the necessary data in order to uncover systemic gaps and resolve needs? To date, I have received no data from the city on staffing and no proactive leadership in this space. If I, as a policymaker with a gavel and a title, cannot get answers, then how can I trust my residents, neighbors, and constituents are? This morning's reporting shows a material decrease in domestic violence investigators. If there was a decrease in staffing and resources allocated toward domestic violence from 2018 to present, then Mayor Frey must explain why his budgets have deprioritized victims and survivors. It is with profound sadness, sincere ire, and unrelenting resolve that I publicly speak to residents and community today. MPD has promised yet another review. MPD's failure to investigate Allison Luciere's death, review. MPD's handling of Davis Maturi's shooting, review. MPD's failure to address clear danger to Ms. Mariah Samuels, review. Yet MPD will not cooperate with the City of Minneapolis's audits, and now we're learning that they are refusing to release results of their own review, a potential violation of the city charter. As policymakers, we are constantly seeking to advance questions and issues that do not have clear recommendations. Alongside domestic violence providers who have been doing this work for decades, the answers, best practices, and expectations are clear. They were studied in 2023, they were studied in 2017, and we expect accountability, transparency, and action today. It is with a very, very heavy heart to share that as a Minneapolis resident myself, I too am a woman of color in my 30s who lives in North Minneapolis, where the 4th Precinct is meant to respond if I need help. That I must share that I do not have confidence that the City of Minneapolis, under the current leadership structure, is able and capable and potentially even willing to seek the justice and reforms that will prevent similar killings in the future. Moving forward, I will continue centering domestic and intimate partner violence among my priorities, and I promise to remain focused on strengthening systems to ensure that Minneapolis is a safe place where people can trust calling 911. To residents who have experienced the harm or inaction described today, I consider you my constituent and promise to continue to fight for your safety, dignity, and justice. To the families and communities of those I've named today, I hear you and I see you. To our partners and providers, thank you for your advocacy and for standing up and supporting this difficult and necessary work. I am very open to feedback and suggestions, and I look forward to remaining alongside residents, partners, and providers as we build a more accountable, equitable, and safe Minneapolis and Hennepin County. It is my privilege to stand alongside those who do the work every single day. And so I will first invite Violence Free Minnesota to speak.